Hey everyone, I just thought after seeing State of Unreal that I would make a quick tutorial on how to set up the new Metahuman Markerless motion capture system that comes available in 5.8. So this is just hot off the press, so it'll be a quick demo and what you actually need to get it up and running, and hopefully you have fun with it. So in order to see this, I thought I would just do a quick, this is what you're going to get at the end of the tutorial. I have went and found a free video on the internet of someone dancing. Please feel free to use your own footage and choose your own Metahuman, but it gives you an idea of the sort of detail and fidelity you're actually able to get from the video. So without further ado, let's jump in and see how to get this working. So I have went ahead and created a new third-person template, and we're going to add the plugins here necessary to get the system actually up and running. So what we can do is, first of all, if you go to add and go to fab. So if you don't see fab here, you will need to go back to your library and add it from that point. So if you click fab, and you will get your, hopefully, interface loading up. Then if you simply come in under search and type in Metahuman, Markerless, and just hit return, and you should see it under the engine. If you click here, you can see here, install the project, add the library. So if you simply select install the project, you have to agree to a license agreement, just hit accept. Off it will go and download. So we'll come back once it's downloaded. So once the plugin has been downloaded, you may be asked to restart, so please go ahead and do that. And then once you restart, it may say you've got new plugins enabled, and if you look at them under your plugins and type in Metahuman, you will see that under the plugins we now have Metahuman Animator Markerless Motion Capture. Okay, so there should be a tick enabled beside that. Other plugins that you're going to need enabled for this tutorial include Metahuman Animator, because this Markerless motion capture is a subsystem of Animator, so you will need that enabled. So please make sure this is on, and I will also make sure that Metahuman Creator is on, because we will be creating Metahumans for this. Right now I'm also just enabling Metahuman Generator on Livelink, just as an extra precaution. And then the other things we're going to actually need to enable for this is another system called Livelink. So if you type in Livelink under your plugins, you'll see that that's enabled. And also make sure Livelink Hub is also enabled. So I think that is all we need here. I'm just double checking. Yep, that should be absolutely fine. So those seem to be enabled by default. So Livelink, just ensure there's a tick there and a tick there. So once you've got those plugins selected, simply hit restart, and then we'll come back after you hit restart. So now that you've enabled all those Metahuman and Livelink plugins, they should be enabled, available for us to use now within the project. And I say the other thing you're obviously going to need is some video footage of a person doing their performance, be it the dance, the acting, whatever it is. So you're going to need that video as well. So I have a small MP4 downloaded, as I said, off the internet, ready to use for my capture here. Okay, so if you recall, like, everything that this is actually doing is all local. So a lot of the other AI capture systems, you have to send your footage to the cloud, that has to be processed, has to be sent back. Everything we're doing here is actually happening on the PC. So unfortunately you will need a reasonably well-spec PC to make this happen. I believe the current specifications they're suggesting are like a 16-core processor with 32 gigs of RAM and something like a NVIDIA 3070 or more available. I'm quite fortunate that I have an AMD 7950X 3D, 96 gig of RAM and a 4090. I bought all this before PC prices went to hell, but I am in a fortunate position to have a PC that can handle all this. I'm presuming that you could try to see if this does work on your PC, but it's just to make you aware that this is all running locally. So it's all running locally within your PC. So it doesn't go off to the cloud to do any processing, so you will need quite a beefy PC to make this happen. So in this setup here, there's a few different paths. You can actually use a single camera or a dual camera. In this case here, I'm just going to use what you call single camera solve, so it captures face and body independently in the same footage. There is another aspect using dual cameras where I can capture face and body separately, but I haven't tried that yet. I will at a future point. This is going to take a few steps. We're going to capture the footage or import the footage from the video. Then we're going to process and export the animation that we create from that footage. And then subsequently we'll be applying it to the Metahuman. Okay, so the first step that we're going to do here is import our footage using the Capture Manager system. So the Capture Manager system is part of the Livelink hub. And if you recall, one of the plugins we enabled was the Livelink hub. So if you come down under your tools menu and scroll down to the bottom, you should see an option here for that. So once you click on that, it may take a moment or two to initially load up in your machine if you haven't run it before. So let's see. So you should get a message here. It'll build the plugin here, and then hopefully once it's loaded, you should see the Livelink hub appeared. So what we're going to do is we need to get the Capture Manager window. So currently we're in live data. So that's if you were streaming data in, but we want to actually drop this down and go to Capture Manager. So when you bring in Capture Manager, we want to click on Add. And the option we're looking for here is this one here called a Mono Video Ingest. Okay, so if you click on that and simply select it, you will see here then we tell it where it has to look. So this is for the video we've downloaded or where you're going to use it from. So just leave video discovery as auto. It will look for any videos within that folder. So I'm just going to point it to my downloads folder and where I had it. Under dance, and I simply hit select, and once it does that, you can see here that it actually finds that footage that I downloaded. So if I click on that once, okay, you should see everything appearing there. Simply click on Add to Queue. Now, this is an important step here. So a tool at this point that Epic suggests you use, it helps the transcoding ability within the Windows Media Framework. This gives a wider range of transcoding and it can be faster. So if you go to FFMpeg, just Google, and we need to install this as part of our setup here. So if you just go to Download, Windows Builds, okay, and then just get a release build and whatever the latest one is here. So here's one here from May. So simply download this, the zip file, and unzip it to your downloads folder. Okay, so please ensure that this is installed at this point. Okay, so now that you've downloaded FFmpeg and hopefully unzipped it to a location on your computer, you now need to be able to tell the capture manager where that file is in order to use it. So if you come up to the settings here in the corner and go to settings, it'll come under all settings, and you need to ensure that use third-party encoder is enabled. So just make sure this is ticked on, and now you need to give it to the path of where the FFmpeg executable is. So if you simply select the three little dots here, and then mine is actually under here, so it's under my downloads folder. So you'll just go to wherever you've downloaded on your computer, and then just make sure you select FFmpeg and click open. So now the manager will actually use FFmpeg as the transcoder. So now that FFmpeg has also been installed, we can see here that the video you've added is ready to be started. So you simply just click on the video itself, and you can see, obviously, like on Epic, we'll have a details panel here appear. Just give it a location where you want this to go to. So if I was to go to I downloads done, and simply select there, so it's going to go in there. All these other settings currently are okay as default. I haven't changed any of those as part of this. And then simply hit start. And you can see the progress happens, and then fingers crossed you should get a little success tick there once that completes. Again, I was getting a fail message appearing here when I didn't have FFmpeg installed. Okay, so at this point we have created our footage, ready to do that, so that we can simply minimize that or close it. So we can close it here, and our next step then is to actually create a Metahuman for this process. So you may have a Metahuman already in your project, you can use that, but for the sake of clarity here, I'm just going to create this from scratch. So I'm just going to create a new folder and just call it Metahumans. Okay, so get the folder set up, and because we have enabled our Metahuman creator, we should be able to right click here now, and you should see Metahumans being available for you to actually make here. So I'm going to create a Metahuman character, give it a name, so MHC, and I'm going to call him Bob. Okay, and then simply double click that. Now, if you get some error messages saying components missing, just simply select the message that pops up saying enabled missing, and then you may need to restart. So sorry. No. So with that done, the Metahuman creator should appear here, but all we do here, well, there you go. So I am actually getting it up here myself. So you can see here GPU skin. So please, let's just enable missing. Okay, so, and then there we go, a restart. So let's come back once this restarted. Okay, so now that we've restarted after we had those missing things enabled, if you simply come up to presets, this will actually give you a whole list of Metahumans to actually work from. So if you've never used Metahumans before, it's a system to sculpt really high realistic looking characters, but hopefully you have if you're looking at this tutorial. So I'm simply going to select Bruce here and just double click on him, and this will load up Bruce's textures here. So here we go, we've got Bruce. So now we need to make sure that we've got each of these options enabled here for us to use within our project. So if you click on download texture sources, this may take a while on your machine, so again, just persevere and you'll get messages hopefully coming up saying all good. So once your textures are downloaded, then we simply create a full rig. Again, hit click, it'll go auto rigging face mesh, and again, this may take a period of time. So I'll come back once that's done. Okay, so now that we've downloaded our texture sources and created our full rig, as you can see, quite a few of these operations are going to take quite a while, and once it gets to the Markerless system, it will also take a bit of time considering the speed of our machines here. So now we've created a full rig and downloaded textures. If you click on assembly and just make sure that you've give your character a name, everything else here should be okay, and you will see at the bottom of the screen here, if you're happy with this, then simply click assemble, and guess what, there'll be a bit of a wait as well. Once this is done, we'll come back. So click on assemble and I'll see you after that. Okay, now that the assembled Metahuman process is finished, just make sure you hit save and we can close that. Okay, so that's effectively our Metahuman character built. But now we need to, what you do is create and configure the Metahuman performance asset, so the actual asset that we're going to use against our video. So again, to do that, we simply right click, go to our Metahuman, and this time we're actually going to look for this one here called the Metahuman performance. So hang on, Metahuman performance, I'm just going to call it Bob again. So Metahuman performance. So just double click on it and we get a new interface appearing here. I'm just going to save, so it's all ready to go. So in this, you're going to have a look at the details panel here, and you can see the footage captured data field. If we drop that down, you will see that this finds our dancing footage that we captured previously from the Livelink manager. So we select that, and look at this magic. We've got our wonderful performer here, and if we hit play down at the bottom, you will see her doing her dance. Or okay, so we've got that part, and now we've got to work out what we're actually going to solve here. So which things is it we're going to take from this performance to actually build. So over at this side, I have left all these as default. So it's up to you whether you want to actually select facial tracking. You can turn that on, or if you just want the body tracking. So in my case, I'm actually just going to take both these. Okay, so we just turn on facial tracking and body tracking. You can use soft tongue, etc. Again, I've just left these as defaults as part of this tutorial, so that should be fine. Under facial models, again, just make sure the face detector is set to small as well as the solver. This again is part of the recommendations Epic have at this minute in time, so I've left that as standard. I have left everything else, yeah. So pretty much once you've got that done, then we're gonna work out how to process it. Okay, so I'm just double checking these, that all looks good, and you can see now that we've got a representation of our character of our artist here, and then we simply click on process. And again, guys, this may take a considerable amount of time. Okay, so you can see here there's various stages, 1 to 5, and again, depending on the speed of your machine, the system goes through. This is where it analyzes the video, looks at each keyframe within it effectively, and builds this whole animation setup for you. So depending on the speed of your machine, I'll see you whenever. Okay, I'll come back once this is complete. Okay, so now that the video has been processed, you can see here that when we hit press play, you should see, the little solve, being created from the video. So awesome. What I would encourage you to do is just, if you are testing this for the first time, is use short videos so that you're not waiting a substantial amount of time on each of these things, or break them up into smaller little video chunks. So great, we have our solve here. So what we want to do is export this animation. So simply select export at the top, give it a location. So I'm just going to put it under here. Just give it a name. I already had one made here, but I'm just going to save over the top of it. Yes, I want to replace it. So you'll get this settings menu appearing. Pretty much these are okay as default. The export range will take the entire range here. Yours, it may say performer skeleton as the default. But for this tutorial, just switch it to existing skeleton. And then this is going to be the skeleton mesh that you want to send it to. So in our case here, mine is called Bob. So whatever your Metahuman name you give yours, if you remember earlier in the tutorial. So if I simply put it to the body mesh here, and leave the body retarget as the standard Metahuman one, that should be all good. So we hit create, and it goes off and does a few bits and pieces. So our next job then will be to apply the animation sequence that's just been created there to our Metahuman Bob. So let's close our performance file, and if we jump back into our Metahumans folder where we created all this, you will see here whenever we assembled our Metahuman earlier, you should be able to go into here and you should have a blueprint for your Bob character, or whatever yours was called. So I would simply drag a reference of your character into the engine here. Just have a little look at Bob there and all his glory, looking good. Okay, so in order to see your animation action here, I'm just going to go up to the content folder and I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it sequences or so much. Sequences is fine. And then here we're going to create a thing called a level sequence. So again, it's just something we use for animation, and you'll find it under the cinematics tool. And we'll call it level sequence, and I'm going to call this ls underscore. So for level sequence, and I'm going to call it Bob. We simply double click on that, and we get the sequencer appearing here. So with that done, you can see here we've got a reference to Bob here. And what we can do is simply say under sequence, click add actor track, and then simply select add Bob, and you'll see that it updates. Okay, so for this case, we don't need what you call the control rig. So this is these icons, etc., appearing around the player. So simply delete the control rig off the body. Just select it and hit delete. And the same on the face. Simply select it and hit delete. So now we've got our character, and what we want to do is apply the animation to him. So under body, and we hit plus, add a track, and we look for animation. And under ours, we're going to select the animation sequence that we created. So here we go. There he is. Now you can see here our timeline under our sequence will cut off after 165 frames. So I'm just going to extend it to 500 or so. And yours, whatever length of time your animation is, I'm just going to drag the end point off to there. And now, if I select sequence and hit play, we should see Bob doing the magic of the dance that we captured from our video. So, hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial, guys. Appreciate your time. Hopefully it was straightforward. I will try and come back to this. Obviously, this has been a very quick tutorial on day 0 of it being launched here in 5.8. Please let me know if you get on okay with it. I hope you enjoyed it. Just take your time with each step. Make sure you save at each step. Because again, this is quite an experimental feature, so it may crash. And as you've seen by, creating the metahumans, building the assemblies, and generating the actual performances will take time depending on your machine. So just let it play out. Use short videos to play about with in the first instance, and fingers crossed everything goes all good. So once again, thanks very much. And let's just see Bob dance one more time, because that was worth it. Catch you in the next one.